Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, meathead. Excuse me, Mr. Peña, does he know you? And I says, I believe he does. And I had a bad rep, so I wasn't stretching too much. A lot of people knew me. Not hardly anybody liked me, but a lot of people knew who I was. And I get him on the phone, and I said, Ken? His name was Ken Hanna. He's retired. He's still around. I said, Mr. Hanna, can I call you Ken? He says, yes, who is this? This is Dan Peña. That's what I was known as then. How did you get through my... He didn't say gatekeepers. How'd you get through everybody? I said, I'd like to say I'm charming, but that's not the reason I got through. I got through because I have a tremendous opportunity. And before he could say anything, if I could show you how to make 50 million pounds in the next 24 months, would you be interested? Silence. It seemed like minutes, but it wasn't. 10, 12 seconds. Who are you again? He says, yeah, I would be. And he says, make an appointment. No. I said, I'm just around the corner. I wasn't. I was like an hour and 5 minutes away, an hour away. We were in Goldman Sachs headquarters because they were the lead underwriter if we got the deal. And so 45 minutes later, I show up late. But I made his secretary stayed and made me tea and shit like that. And we sat down and I told him, but when he accepted, the whole room all clapped. They could have made that call. My minimum fee in those days was 10 million pounds. So that one phone call, 10 million pounds it cost them. And Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan asked me to negotiate their fees for them because they knew that I'd even negotiating your fee, I was going to get more than you would have gotten. So we're sitting there and I tell Mr. Hanna, and he said, I turned this job down 9 months ago. Really? He says, but nobody talked to me about 50 million pounds in 2 years. And he says, is that just a sales bravado? I said, no. Actually, it's the low end. It's a low case. Could be a couple 100 million pounds. Then he sat up and sipped his tea. And the rest is history. And we failed. The takeover failed because they brought in a guy who's the key retail king, a guy named Ken Rose, who is the savior of these kind of companies, to fight us. And the shareholders went with Ken Rose and didn't go with us. But the ability for you to make those calls will make you rich. Will make you rich. Now, and that's why we tell you to practice. Because most people in this room, if not all, won't be polished enough in the beginning. And that's why we tell you to join these various organizations and take leadership positions and get up and react and talk. Not to make friends, but because you get used to it. When I started the first financial planning department on Wall Street in the early 70s, I made 200 talks. Started in Bangor, Maine, to the Keys, to Florida, to Seattle, Washington. And after about 100, 125 speeches, I was pretty damn good. I was pretty damn good. I'm better now. But you won't get good unless you practice. It's one thing selling a guy and meeting him one-to-one. It's another thing to buy 50, 200 companies. And you have to have a lot of arrows in your quiver, but there's only 25 or 30 sayings or bits, words that you have to memorize. And I'd say, slightly tongue-in-cheek, you don't even have to put them in the right order. All it has to do is the words come out of your mouth in the wrong order. But they're the key words, They're the key words. When you're doing 100% seller finance, what's the downside for the seller? If you default, what happens if you default? They get the business back. Everybody understand that? I buy her business 100% seller finance over the next 5 years. I default in year 2. The business goes back to you if you foreclose. Everybody understand that? But you don't want the fucking business back. I know it, and you know I know it. So you renegotiate it. So the worst thing that can happen is she got paid for a year and a half and she gets the business back. But I know she doesn't want the goddamn business back. She prays I don't default. So one of the biggest things that you worry about is a non-event. Does everybody follow that? When they sell you the business for 100% seller finance, they don't want that motherfucker. They don't want to touch it. You're going to have to twist their arm to keep them on for 6 or 12 months. So they have no leverage. Yet most of you kids, that's what you're afraid of. Dan says how hard it is to operate them. Yes. Well, I'm operating something on a seller's note. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm going to default. And they're going to take the business. No. They could take the business away from you, but they won't. Because they don't want the goddamn thing to begin with. Anybody that does 100% seller finance wants out terrible, bad, as it bad English. It's like a woman sleeping next to her husband knowing that her husband's cheating on her every afternoon. She's just trying to figure out how to get out. So the thing that you worry about doesn't happen. And when you look at it, if you looked at Joshua Kim exit interview that is online, 18 minutes, he said 95% of the things I thought were going to happen and worried about, Mr. Peña said wouldn't happen, didn't happen. 95% of the worries that he had as a 17, 18-year-old kid who doesn't know shit never happened. If they haven't happened to me in 51 and a half years, well, then it was maybe 47 years. If they haven't happened to me in 47 years, why would you, other than you're insecure, lack of sympathy, blah, 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 why would you expect it to happen to you? Well, not all, but almost all of the serious things that you worry about don't happen. They just don't happen. Even if you default on a note and you break a covenant, fucking bank doesn't want your business back. The business. You think the bank wants a little $2.5-3 million horse shit assisted living home health business back? Fuck no. They'll work with you. That means keep it. We'll give you more money. That's what that means. But see, you're worried about it. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because you've never seen it happen doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Otherwise, guys like Trump and all these, would have failed. If it wasn't for President Obama that gave, I may be wrong on the numbers a little, twice $500 million to Elon Musk. Not gave, allowed him to get into one of those government programs. Elon Musk would be an asterisk on the history pages. 500 million went to SpaceX, and I forget where the other 500 million went, which was lost. Without that, $500 million, I'm sure Elon would have figured something out, but based on just pure numbers, we wouldn't be, revering Elon. There'd be somebody else in his place. When Obama tried to get in and, make global warming or, decarbonization and all those things that they're concerned about happen overnight, the government threw a lot of money, just as it did during Corona. Just as they did during Corona. You understand that? So the worst thing that can happen is not the worst thing that can happen to you. You default on 100% seller finance, 1, renegotiate, 2, renegotiate, 3, renegotiate. One time out of 100 or 1,000, they'll have seen my YouTubes and decided, fuck, I should have never sold to that prick anyway, and so, I'll take it back. I say that, but I don't know if that's ever really happened. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know. And one of you assholes on YouTube would have emailed me for sure, or emailed my website, this person, but I haven't gotten that email. It's like I say 100% of everything in my life is online. 2 or 3 years ago, I said, the only thing that's not online is which hand I wipe my ass with. And I'm posting for the first time here, my right hand. So now you know everything about me, including which hand I wipe my butt with. There are no secrets. When Sally and I go to the Heathrow airport, or whatever airport, people come up and Before Corona, I don't want to talk to you. Post-Corona, I actually talk and I do selfies now with them, if they ask. I mean, Sally said, Jesus Christ, Dan, you're getting, I mean, on the cruises, these people come up, the crew, the captain of the fucking boat, all follow me. And they said, can we have a picture? And Sally knows, pre-Corona, fuck you, don't bother me. But now, I'm not like this, you know, but because I'm getting ready to run for office. You know, I'm probably going to even kiss babies now. You know, all my alleged rules are going out the window now because I'm going to be a half-assed politician. Okay, I mean, so it's not anything to worry about. It isn't. Now, one of you is going to make me a liar and fuck it up because you don't know the lengths you'll go to step on your own dick and fuck something up. Okay? You had the right idea chasing that guy. But you hung on too long. Which you know yourself now. Okay. But it makes me, not good, it doesn't make me feel good. But good, they're going to arrest you and drag you. Yeah, that's good. I've been drug out of buildings myself. So, I mean, we have something in common in that regard. Button.
I did have I guess a 15 minutes of spotlight because now I'm tiny. Those officers were humongous. So as I'm walking out the building, people are looking at me as if I was a celebrity. And so I had some spotlight there, but after a while,
well, as long as you didn't have to go to jail, as I have, you know. But the guys and gals, for real, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
But I do have a second story because the second.
Okay, well, wait. We're not going to share that second story on YouTube. But I mean, I would rather ask for forgiveness than permission. I've ruled my whole life that way, and and then I don't even ask for forgiveness. I just just take another scar, and I just hope that the nuns don't stop praying for me. But I mean, you can do this. You can do this. And remember, the best person to support this system is the chairperson that really has your back. Not like I've got your six bullshit. Really has your back and will stand up because it's going to happen. Sooner or later, after you make 30 acquisitions, nobody gives a shit. But sooner or later, when they figure out that you're getting roughly, last year, the U's in the deals had 67% of the deals on average across the board. Call it 2/3. Of all you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you came away with 2/3 of the deals. Equity to your account. Or your trust or whatever. Okay. For no money. I don't know what could be better. No money, 2/3. It's better than poking the eye with a sharp stick, I'm telling you. And now that I've been doing it decades now, and there's nobody else. There's a bunch of mini-me's, but they're not teaching exactly this. And if you ask them if they've done any deals, the answer is normally no. But the field's wide open, guys and gals. I mean, the field's wide open. And somebody had their hand up. Okay. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
With the Andres deal, you said there was a board member you instantly saw and you wanted to get rid of him. Was it a characteristic or was it lack of knowledge?
Lack of preparation. You're getting 2, 4, 5, 10% for free. I mean, I'd be prepared. You're supposed to be an industry expert. You're supposed to be an industry lawyer. You're supposed to be an accountant. He sends all the fucking documents, some of the guys don't even read them. Jesus, I make fun of the millennials, but I mean, old farts, they get satiated, Remember, until you find them, mostly they've got nothing to do and all day to do it in. And when you've got a guy that was 40 years with KPMG and he sits on no boards, that's a red flag. 40 years I didn't know that in the beginning, 50 years ago. But there's a reason why there are no boards. Now, either he's a curmudgeon like me, because there are a few of me running around, and, I've only been on a couple boards, outside you kids' boards, since I left Great Western Resources, 30 years ago. But there's, and so, you can ask the question, it's part of your scripts. Is there anything in your background that could preclude us doing a commercial financing? They'll say yes or no. And I noticed that you've been out of KPMG 9 years and you don't serve in any boards. Is there a reason for that? And some guys will say, yeah, I don't want to do anything. And they may, say in earnest, but your deal interests me. What they're really saying when they say your deal interests me, free founders equity hooked them. When you go on these other ones, they give you free shit, nothing. They give you a place to park in the building for when you come to board meetings. Free founders equity is magic. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
If you want to become a conglomerate, is the board different or is it similar?
No, a conglomerate, you want generalists. You want 3 or 4 generalists. Instead of an industry expert in one particular industry, you want 3 or 4 generalists that have been with conglomerates before. I'm considered a generalist because I've been on a lot of different boards, but you want a generalist. But you still have a lawyer, you still have the accountant, you still have the CFO, and a CEO, and a chairman. And in that particular case, you'd want a chairman that's a generalist. Like Ben Carson would not be a great chairman for a conglomerate roll-up. Ben Carson would be a world-class chairman for just about any kind of health roll-up. But I mean, he specifically knows health, care, and pediatric surgery. But there are people that are world-class conglomerate guys. There are. Okay, YouTube.